Good morning, y'all. Gracia's not here yet, but I don't want us to miss anything. So I'm gonna tag along with others. So we are sharing this from Hidden True Crime. And if Crescia wants to change that when she gets here, she can. But I want to let everybody know that we're giving credit to Hidden True Crime to see this today. And I'm going to back out and we'll just kind of watch to see what happens. Okay.
No. Good try. If you need something else. Good try.
So I just wanted to make sure that the sound was good and that you could hear, even though nothing's really going on yet. And we are, as I say right now, we're giving credit to Hidden True Crime. And thanks so much for her coverage. Here's
All right, we're
Lori.
going to go on the record. State of Arizona versus Lori Vallow, CR 2021-001704, CR 2022-001242.
Trinity, on behalf of the state for the record, the next of kin and victim are appearing virtually.
All right, thank you.
Good morning, I'm Keith Perry and Danae Suki on behalf of Ms. Vallow, who's present appearing in custody.
Thank you, ma'am. Can you tell me your name and date of birth?
Lori Vallow Daybell, 6/26/1973.
All right, this is the time set for a complex case scheduling conference. I've received the complex case joint case management report that indicates discovery is ongoing and a large amount of discovery is about to be disclosed, to approximately 80,000 pages of discovery. I imagine that's going to take some time for the defense to get through. Mr. Terry, do you have any specific discovery issues that you need to bring to my attention today?
Judge, we have yet to receive the bulk of the discovery that's listed in there, so we don't know whether we have issues at this time. So it's going, as your Honor said, it's going to take some time to get through all the discovery. We have yet to receive, I guess, 20 terabytes of discovery, so we will make the court aware if there are any issues.
All right. My intention today was to set another complex case management conference in approximately 60 days. Prior to doing that, though, is there anything from the state that we need to discuss?
Nothing at this time, Your Honor.
All right.
Judge, given that we're going to be going through discovery for the next foreseeable months, and we would ask if we could waive Ms. Vallow's presence at the next CCMC.
Does the state have a position on that?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll waive your appearance for the next complex case management conference. We're going to set that for April 24 at 8:30 a.m. We'll note that her presence is waived and not to be transported. At that time, we'll talk about where you're at in going through all that discovery. I imagine your trial date may not be realistic based on the amount of discovery, but we'll discuss it at that time.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll be at recess on that matter. Thank you. All right.
So I guess there was some flaw on that. I wish that we were sharing that this had not happened. I'm guessing that she's going to try to rejoin, and we'll be there you go. We were getting from Hidden True Crime to get to watch this. And let's see. I'm going to put me back up there. And I'll remove that for a minute. So I'm guessing, I'm not sure whether it was over or they were doing some more. But anyways, we'll have to see. And it looked like, yes, I see people talking about she was really smirky today and happy to be there. And she really is like, I am gonna just stick my nose up because I don't have to show up for them next hearings like y'all all do. Anyways, let's see what's going on. Let's see. Y'all, I'm just hunting for something. Y'all talk amongst yourself because I'm not sure what's going on. And we'll give the right thing so that we can be have our own feed next time and won't lose what's going on. And Krisha had created the feed for today, and she may be in a different room than I am. I know that doesn't make any sense, but so if you guys could talk about yourselves, you know what? I'm going to show something from yesterday that Krisha put up in case you guys hadn't seen it. Let's see. It's 22 watching. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm going to check and see if somebody else has it. It's crazy that we'll have to get Kay and Larry to come on and tell Krisha exactly what happened in this hearing. And Krisha may be watching it with her family right now. I'm not real sure what has exactly happened this morning, but I'm going to hold down the live until Krisha gets here, and we'll see what we can do about that. And the time is upon us. Okay, Phoenix 10, Fox. Phoenix, Fox 10, Phoenix. Okay.
Good try.
We'll listen to the hot mics.
If you need something, though.
All right, we're gonna go on the record, State of Arizona versus Lori Vallow, CR 2021-001704, CR 2022-001242.
Attorney Kay, on behalf of the state, for the record, the next of kin and victim are appearing virtually.
Good morning, Keith Terry and Denise Suki on behalf of Ms. Vallow, who's present and bearing in custody.
Thank you, ma'am. Can you tell me your name and date of birth?
Lori Vallow, 6/26/1973.
All right, this is the time set for a complex case scheduling conference. I've received the complex case joint case management report that indicates discovery is ongoing and a large amount of discovery is about to be disclosed, to approximately 80,000 pages of discovery. I imagine that's going to take some time for the defense to get through. Mr. Terry, do you have any specific discovery issues that you need to bring to my attention today?
Judge, we have yet to receive the bulk of the discovery that's listed in there, so we don't know whether we have issues at this time. So it's going, as your Honor said, it's going to take some time to get through all the discovery. We have yet to receive, I guess, 20 terabytes of discovery, so we will make the court aware if there are any issues.
My intention today was to set another complex case management conference in approximately 60 days. Prior to doing that, though, was there anything from the state that we need to discuss?
Nothing at this time, Your Honor.
Judge, given that we're going to be going through discovery for the next foreseeable months, and we would ask if we could waive Ms. Vallow's presence at the next CCMC.
State of position on it.
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll waive your appearance for the next complex case management conference. We're going to set that for April 24 at 8:30 a.m. We'll note that her presence is waived and not to be transported. At that time, we'll talk about where you're at in going through all that discovery. I imagine your trial date may not be realistic based on the amount of discovery, but we'll discuss it at that time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll be at recess at that moment. Thank you.
All rise.
I'm back. Well, also, I guess maybe that was all of us. So, well, also, I guess maybe that, I don't know how that happened. So, I'm going to see if what other things I can find because that was a surprise. So, so I think they're in a recess. So we're going to pull for law and crime for a while. How about that? So that'll be different. Also, I'm going to, I want to show because I guess everybody probably saw yesterday when Adams, I think his name was Sneed, took the microphone and just spilled it. It was really something else. And so I'm going to see if I can find that and show that to y'all while we're waiting. I think they're in recess. Oh, yeah. Okay, so okay. So while we're waiting for something different to happen, and I will be watching that, I'm going to play a little video of something else that happened yesterday.
Hi there. Okay, we've got another interview.
Do you guys want to know who Joe Hildebrand? Here, I'll answer your questions. He's her attorney. He can't answer them. My name's Adam Paul Steve. I'll answer tons of questions about her. I know my dad. Hey, Dad, come here. Come here. My dad has a file at home that's probably about 2,500 pages of records from court filings and just huge amount of documentation about Jody Hildebrand that we will share with everybody. I want you to know the same court that has ordered us not to share these documents is covering up this racket that Jody Hildebrand had with the Mormon Church in the 4th District Utah County Court. She abused my children the same way, almost. Even in a different type of abuse, I think it could be argued worse. And that was 15 years ago. And I fought against Jody Hildebrand with my family and everybody to stop this monster of a lady. And Jody went after me. She went after me, destroyed my life in the craziest way you could ever think of possible. Like, I was a victim of sexual abuse at Boy Scouts of America, Camp Little Lemhi in Idaho. My dad helped us stop a predator. You can read it in the national press and everything. We changed changed the laws of sexual abuse so victims could come forward. We got rid of the criminal and civil statute limitations. The Mormon Church knew who we were. And Elder Helam, Richard G. Helam, was like he was the president of the first quorum of the 70, the top probably executive functioning leader of the whole Mormon Church. And he sat with Jody Hildebrandt as they destroyed my life in this court racket, like they've destroyed countless other people's lives. And they even had the gall to order my Mormon Stories thing where I brought some documentation off the internet saying that they didn't want me to say bad things to my children or in front of the children about my ex-wife. Well, if you're accused of sexual abuse by Jody Hildebrandt, and if your ex-wife performed a falsification of sexual abuse, that professionals looked at the documentation and said, this is sexual abuse. This is sexual abuse. We have documentation for sexual abuse of my children by Jody Hildebrandt and my ex-wife. And this stuff was redacted in the Doppel paperwork. It was so horrible that it was redacted. And the courts just recently said I couldn't talk about my family or my ex-wife or anything. But if you have children, if your children were trained to think that your dad was sexual predator and a monster.
So I'm sorry, we came in a little bit late. Why is it that you wanted to be here?
Okay, so there are tons, and it's not Jody Hildebrandt is the tip of the iceberg. The Mormon Church was doing this operation where they were using religious beliefs and they were using ethical therapists to enforce them. And it was an area of exploitation, and it was a horrific area. It was exploitation because it created horrible divorces that should have been normal divorces. We're talking about hundreds and thousands of families going through these courts, and Jody was like an icon. Her doctor. Okay, so here's the problem. Everybody.
So today it sounds like was a little bit of like justice for you too.
Oh, Jody, yeah, Ruby Frank. When I saw Ruby Frank, I saw my ex-wife sitting there saying the exact same thing. That my ex-wife would have said the exact same thing Ruby Frankie said today, and a lot of other women would have said the same thing. You have no idea how many victims are out there that are their minds have been messed up so much with this. The prosecutor said that he said that the children thought it was their fault. All of the adult men think it's their fault. All of the women think it's their fault. I have had countless emails and messages.
Sorry, what was your
I'm Adam Paul Steed. I'm the guy that got Jody's license from Doppel removed. Well, my dad and mom get the credit, but and they said that the Doppel department said we have evidence here for criminal charges against Jody. This is 13 years ago. It's identical stuff. So I almost like fell over in the courtroom when I heard Jody say that she loved those children. Jody doesn't love children. Jody's like Ted Bundy. In fact, one time I was in a.
Do you feel that she should have a longer sentence than Ruby?
Jody? Here's the problem. Somebody hits a person and runs. That's like two variables: a car and someone running. They catch him. Jody's got like 30 variables, including a huge issue with the Mormon Church racketing. I mean, they're all ducking low and covering. In fact, I looked at an email, and I can show this to you guys. It's this factual evidence where it should have been a neutral person in the courts. Kelly Peterson, the guardian ad litem, when they were punishing me in the family custody courts, he said that my act to turn Jody Hildebrandt in was an act of vengeance, and they took my kids away from me because I performed an act of vengeance. That's this court was sitting there completely in bed with Jody. They've done it. I talked to Doug Thayer's daughter. She saw relations. I mean, these aggressive attorneys working with Jody, Commissioner Patton. All these people know about Jody. The BYU Honor Code office before they kicked me out of school for being a whistleblower and child abuse. I guess Jody went and told them I was the most dangerous man she'd ever met in her lifetime. We have hundreds of pages of this stuff of Jody Hildebrandt working with top church leaders to dispel me. I got kicked out of school my senior year. This lady, we've got all this documentation of how she talks, how she walks. Now, here's what I do want to say. I don't like Ruby Frankie, but I don't know her. I just think you have to be a selfish person to fall for Jody's stuff. She's got a certain kind of carrot that gets certain kind of people. But Ruby Frankie would have never done any of this stuff if Jody Hildebrandt hadn't been the mastermind and just completely created this. Ruby Frankie's not dangerous in the sense she's not going to go out and do this to more kids, but Jody Hildebrandt will. When we went to Doppel and we went to Doppel ordered her to go through all this ethical stuff. She went through the whole thing with shining colors, and she turned around and did the same stuff again. I mean, even when she was teaching us that we were safe to come to her and stuff, she was abusing children at the same time with one hand and teaching a godliness with another hand.
What's her motivation?
Jody Hildebrandt had a weird relationship with my ex-wife. It was a dual relationship. It was bordering sexual in nature. I mean, she went through different women that made her look powerful and important. My ex-wife's dad was an Area 70 in the Mormon church. And Jody Hildebrandt wanted power but I know her instincts. When you're in a pain and suffering, when you talk about something and she finds a way to hurt you, it makes her blush. It makes her feel euphoric. I've seen her act that way and look that way in the worst of circumstances. So I always compare Jody Hildebrandt to Ted Bundy because nobody can figure out why a serial killer would kill people. Jody Hildebrandt, she grows off of people's pain and destruction. And when she sat there and said she loved those kids, I almost fell out of my chair. The only thing her version of loving children is find a way to make them hurt more than anything possible. It's like an energy she feeds off of.
Thank you so much, Adam.
Sorry, it's a little traumatic for me. So if I monologue, I'm sorry. Does anybody have a question?
Covered a lot.
We got a ton of documentation. That 4th District Court's got to be ducking their heads right now because I do want to say something. There's countless children out there that have been raised to believe their fathers are predators because of Jody Hildebrandt. And the 4th District Court and other courts involved don't want to show they made mistakes. So who's going to help those children? Like, who's going to help them? Like, this is a court of public opinion. People need to find out the truth to go help all these children and help all these people come forward. And the fact that the court tried to silence me for being on the front edge of coming forward is just an example of how the same notorious people in power back then that allowed Jody to do all this stuff are alive and thriving today. And if you give a damn about our children, you got to do the same thing I do and fight for what's true.
Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you, Adam. That was Adam Steed.
So I'm going to go on and end this live because tomorrow we're going to have another one because Chad is going to have a hearing tomorrow, and we're more familiar with how to. Oh, there she is! Thank God! Yay! Tomorrow Chad will have a hearing, and so we're gonna tomorrow get together again and look at his hearing, and it should be very interesting, and we're hoping that we will get to learn more, and it's very interesting, all the different series of things that we might get to learn in the coming weeks. And that guy, let's just go back and talk about Adam for a minute. That was really, he just walked up and took the microphone, and that wasn't all. He took questions. He's like, anybody got any questions? Which is really fierce. And I mean, some of the things that he said, just the words themselves will get the news and us like demonetized from him just giving his experience, and bless his heart, because I know he's wanted to talk for a long time, and undoubtedly the things have gotten different about his legal situation that he can talk. And so I want to talk a minute just about what we learned today at Lori's hearing. First of all, we learned that she is a lying, it's over. It's okay. We didn't learn a dang thing. But she looked like she was really happy to be there. She had her nose completely high. We can watch it again if you want to. They basically said, we got a whole lot to read through. And I don't know if we can get it all read through in time for the trial to start. But we're going to come back. They said they were going to have some more of these hearings, but they don't want to bother Lori to have to ride her over there. They're going to let her just stay where she is and not be transported, because, that would be bothering her. And she seemed really happy that she won't have to be bothered with all this. And I know this may be going across the line, but she was really happy with her little lawyer man too, wasn't she? whispered in his ear. He whispered in her ear. Then they giggled together. What on earth could you be giggling about when you have killed all these people? I don't know if that man's a believer or not, but he better believe if he fools with her very much, he might be in a grave. Just terrible. And then, of course, yesterday we had all that going on with Ruby, Frankie, and Jody. And first of all, Ruby said all the things she was supposed to say and didn't believe any of them. And then Jody didn't say any of the things that she was supposed to and still believes that she should be punishing and hurting children and trying to get the devil out of them. And the things that the prosecutor said about Ruby and Jody were very telling. Things about making the kids believe that they were bad and that they were trying to cast demons out of them and all that, which is really not something that we had heard before. I think that was something new that the prosecutor dropped, that they were trying to cast demons out of the kids. I had not heard that before, but it sounded very familiar. And also, it's crazy how all these things link together in ways that you don't expect. And I was listening to a man. I'm waiting on Krisha to come in, but I'm going to tell this story.
Sorry. Hey, I'm late. Oh my, what the hell? I'm late too, Michelle.
It's okay. I think
Y'all,
that we
I
didn't.
scheduled it wrong the first time. And then I was like, StreamYard doesn't really, I don't know what happened to the editing where you can just edit the time. And so I had to go and delete, the stream I created because it was an hour probably on time. Because I had to do it an hour later the second time. How did I miss it? What time did it start?
I
Legit.
guess it's, I don't know, but we can go back and watch it again if you want to.
No, I'll watch it. I'm not gonna. What the? I'm trying to look, y'all. My hair is like crazy.
Mine too is getting too long. I got to get a haircut.
Me too. It's just
But
humid.
what I was,
Sorry.
you remember how we were talking? I'm not even know which one. I guess it was Bowen, who lived in like a neighborhood that they had built these ways, these odd ways for these Satan people.
Y'all,
Well,
look at the neighborhood. Look how the subdivision is built around Jody's, like it's like a fortress or whatever. Jesse and her, or in their, sorry, Jesse, who goes by they, them pronouns, said that they tried to run away from their aunt Jody's and they got trapped, like there were fences and just things, just the way it's built. And I mean, I don't know, it could just be a coincidence, about how methodical these people are. But I really do think that if you're doing this kind of abuse, you got to be kind of careful, and you have to be, you're going to do whatever is whatever is drilled into you. I do think that I want to know what y'all think. Do y'all think that Jody learned this from maybe, like a generational thing? Did this happen to Jody and it made her do the same thing? I think so. What?
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. I want to know more about her past, her roots, where she came from. Because that's how it is with Hamblin, Bowen. I've been making so many connections. It's not even funny. It's weird. It's so crazy and weird. And you're just like, oh, just the affiliations and just what they're into. if you look at each subset or whatever you want to call it, you look at Jody and Ruby, which I didn't expect them. They were not on my radar. They just came out of nowhere and kind of filled in some context around this like-minded thinking. Same as Lori, same as Chad, same as Tom Harrison, same as Tim Ballard and friends, same as Hamblin, Levitt, Bowen. It's like, it's crazy. And so
Somebody
that,
needs to check on all them people's kids.
well, Adam Steed, my freaking hero, him and his dad. I was so happy. I was like, woohoo! I mean, y'all could have heard me from here. But I was just so like, wow, what? I was not expecting that at all. That was the best part, I have to say. But Adam Steed said that there's like hundreds, maybe thousands of other people that are abused just by Jody herself. So if you think about all the Mormon therapists that were recommended by the church, one has to, I mean, you have to like wonder, there's only so many times that things can be a coincidence. And then there's times when you're like, no, this is deliberate. This is on purpose. Because you cannot, I don't think that you can have this many of these horrible and heinous acts and all these victims in the wake, just left for not for the vultures, it's nuts and it doesn't make sense, but it sure is making sense as far as like what I think, and I'm not alone in this. I really think that you guys, see it somewhere. Y'all are putting it together too, or I don't know. I just always feel like I'm way, you know, uh, I would be labeled a conspiracy theorist. That would be me. I do believe. I think I'm just going to embrace it because I try to see it from other people's, the other side. I try to see it from all sides, but I always it always brings me right back to where to this, and I'm just like, I hate it over here. It's very lonely and it's very dark. But it also, to me, it makes sense. Not what they're doing, but it makes sense. It tells me why. It answers the why. Why is this happening? And that's usually something I don't think that we get answers on. Why people do what they do. I mean, usually if they tell us even, then it's usually not going to be the truth. It's usually going to be self-serving. Um, you know, hey, Treva. Yeah, it does. It makes sense why they're doing it, Robbie. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense what they're doing. But I just kind of wanted, I wanted to know why. We know the how. We pretty much know the who, not all the who's, but we pretty much do. We know kind of the wins. We don't really know the wins, do we? Not detailed. We don't even know what day the kids were murdered on. We can just speculate. Which I hope that Chad's trial answers those questions for me and I'm sure for all of us, Uh that part doesn't make sense. But again, it makes me look at the entire situation and I'm like, it wasn't just Chad and Lori. It just never was. Uh, maybe if there was more evidence, maybe if there are more answers, with Chad's trial that will fill in those times and those pings and the GPS locations and kind of I can get a picture of who was where and it really sucks. who, what, when, really don't even know where. We speculate. We speculate. We've had to speculate. We've had to assume. And I hate assuming, but I'm gonna lay that on the investigators. I'm gonna lay that on team prosecution, because I know that it's not to satisfy my answers and stuff. It's to convict. That's their sole purpose, is to convict. It's not to give us answers, unfortunately. That would be nice. Not nice, but nice. Um, I don't know. It just seems like justice is very lopsided in this manner, in this fashion, or whatever. Hey, Mikkel, how are you? Good to see you, girl. Oh, I know. I know, Bo Peep. Wait until the kids hear that the ball, right? Crazy. I don't know what you said, Carla. I don't. What's a phone call? Oh, you had a phone call. Okay, I get it. Oh, we're good. We're making it, right? um, Heidi, they do know their temple visit. It was subpoena, right? Again. Oh, and it's just like there's so many people surrounding Chad and Lori, just all flocked together. And then as soon as, it gets a little sketch and there's 2 kids missing, and then it goes to mainstream media, and it starts hitting everybody's ears and eyes and attention, then they go and hide. Why? Or think, they say, well, we're going to hide under a cavity of a rock or whatever. And it's just like, nobody's persecuting you, first off. It don't add up to me. And the behavior, you think about, this was my initial reaction, like I was like, okay, it's a church going people. Well, that changed my whole attitude. Because it's like, come on, where's the Christ-like behavior, and then you just don't, you it doesn't match up with the words. Their behaviors do not at all align with what they say. And to me, that's a big indicator. It taught me something else too, to, kind of observe and just see if their actions align with what they are spewing. And a lot of times that is very telling. Oh, I missed the whole damn thing. Just saying. Uh, I thought, I was just like, "Wait, when?" It was so last minute though. For me, I didn't know till it was this morning. Yeah, and yeah, language, they're crying victim. The nerve. And they still are. That's the thing. I watched not Rob Wood. I watched Rod Meldrum. He was on Mormon Book Reviews a couple weeks ago. Or maybe longer than that, but he goes on and he's just like, "Oh, it's time to clear the air." And I'm just like, "What air? You're sucking it out of the room as normal, as usual." Uh, they're very suffocating. And it's all me, 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 I, and judgmental, and just I never it would be different. Look, y'all, if these people were just like, "Hey, we're sorry. This happened. Oh my God." That doesn't mean that you were involved. If you step up and just say, "Hey," and just act like a human, then I think that's all I was looking for. It's all I was expecting. And that's where I fell short, because it's my fault for having those kind of expectations in humanity, or just, you know what I'm saying? In like one of the worst type situations that one can imagine. Uh, just children missing, murders, what, a cult. And you're like, what cult? Where's the cult? Are they going to shoot at me? Just what the hell? It's so crazy. Still, when I think back, even it's just like, what the hell happened? But I don't understand. Oh yeah, so Rod, I mean, he just went on and on about how he only spoke with Chad Daybell, in this on this circuit they're on, right? Preparing a people, the Firm Expo, the Firm Foundation, which is the same thing, and the Book of Mormon Evidence, and all the other companies that they have, all the other nonprofit organizations that these people have. Jeez. It's nuts. So he said that, he said that Rod Meldrum said that he told Mike and Nancy James that he didn't want to speak if, he would not speak on their platform anymore if Chad Daybell was going to continue speaking. And I'm just like, well, according to this flyer and this flyer and this flyer, you spoke more than twice. You rubbed elbows with the dude. More than I can count. And this flyer, according to this flyer, Rod Meldrum, yes, you did. And so it's like, tell that to somebody who's going to sit there and buy it, because I don't. It's just like there's no trust at whatsoever, because they're lying or they're speaking out of both sides of their mouths, which is even worse, I think. Ruby's acting yesterday was gross. I think both of them. Both of them. It was sad. It's really just sad. Ruby and Jody. Jody was just a heartless bitch. Straight up. I was just like, oh, sit down, Satan. Sit down, Satan. She doesn't even think that she did anything wrong. And so I was thinking about that line of thinking. You have David Hamblin, who straight up allegedly tells Brett Bluth, who was recommended by Conrad, I don't know how to say his last name, Gottfredson, allegedly, by the Mormon Church, to go see Hamblin, who was a therapist at the time, for counseling. And so he did, because he was homosexual. He's homosexual, Brett Bluth. And he wanted to be cured. Okay. So here you go. It's so gross, because here's this church that's like, oh, Christ loves all his children. But they do not correspond with what they are saying. It doesn't align, because why is that child going to be fixed or cured? Why can't you just accept him and just roll with it and just be good people? And so that's very aggravating to see. I can't imagine what it's like to actually experience that. So my heart goes out to you, whomever has been wronged by anybody with that. But okay, so David Hamblin is allegedly in his office with Brett Bluth, and the kid just wants to be cured. He wanted to not be homosexual anymore. And so this is good. This is gross. But what do you expect? Hey, Rose. So David Hamblin allegedly puts, one arm right here behind the couch and then the other one right here, so he's just like right there. And basically his sperm is righteous and would cure Brett Bluth of his homosexuality if, you can use your imagination for the rest of that. And can you imagine? And the whole time that Brett Bluth was going to Hamblin for counseling, David Hamblin was using hypnotherapy, and he was telling Brett Bluth, yes, you are a victim of satanic ritual abuse. Yeah, Brett Bluth was like, no, I'm not. I didn't, you never hypnotized me, and I never experienced that. And then until he did, with David Hamblin, allegedly. It's so sick. And so it's like it's the same kind of pattern that you see every now and then. I'll read something and then I'll read something else behind that. Maybe like I want to say it was about Jody and Ruby. And then I went to Hamble and stuff because that's kind of what I do. I just kind of cycle through it. And I'm just like, oh God, that lines up so much. Just reading this account, this little short blurb, and this little blurb in that order. And it just kind of, I don't know. I'm just like, oh, this is so egregious, is the best word. Diabolical. Yeah. So I've been looking into this, like, can, and it's so interesting too. It's so interesting because, yeah, yeah, Heidi. I mean, we're right there, right? They need help. They do. And it's disturbing. And I'm like, you know what? Why do I even speak out? It's like we are dealing with narcissism is what it is, in my opinion. I'm not a professional licensed nothing. Okay. But again, I have eyes to see and ears to hear, and I read. Hey, Alex, how you doing, girl? Oh, I missed it too. Poor baby. Y'all, I just feel so bad for Harmony. That is just tragic. These poor kids, extreme narcissism. Janelle says, yeah. Oh, that would be interesting, Carla. I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it. I would not put it past them. I'm probably gonna Google that in a little while. If anybody looked at my Google search, they'd be like, "Oh my lord, sacrilegious much?" Yeah. Oh, y'all. And so when did I go live? Sunday. At the very end of the stream, it did get kicked off of Facebook. Why? Because whenever I accidentally, what did I do? I think I went to turn, my camera off like this. Well, when I did that, it flashed to my screen that I had to present. So we read that Afghanistan World Foundation that Tim Ballard serves on, with Henry Kissinger and other weird folk, sketch folk. And it was there was a little baby on there on that page, and he had little nubs for legs, okay? Because they have these mines that blow up. And it looked like, because I was like, "Oh, that's horrible." It looked to me like it was a not so good picture. I was like, "Whoo, what is that? I'm sorry, y'all." And anyway, so it looked like a penis. But anyways, and they kicked me off and I didn't even know how to do the process to like fight it. So yeah, I meant to tell everybody that, but time gets away. I want to tell Angela that. Yeah. I don't know. What do y'all think? Y'all, I was reading some of the FOIA docs, don't you know? Them damn FOIA docs. And I was reading the part just because I ran across it, just this one part. And it's, do you have eggs? And I was like, so I really just read it line upon line and or line by line, just to be really careful. And so I read about 20 pages, I guess, again, but just kind of with what I know now versus what I knew before. Yeah, they definitely do, Joe. That's what they do. Mhm. That's what this is. Is it exploitation? It's like 10.0. It is so sad and disgusting, and it pisses me off. But I didn't know that in the beginning, and I know now. So, I don't know. Oh, yeah. She did hire an attorney initially when she said that she did not have an attorney. Now, I don't know. I didn't vet this out myself, but I do remember that, I don't have the time to vet everything out. Can you imagine? I even thought about sending the church a whole bunch of questions and just letting them answer. I mean, at least to get a response.
Round
But
response.
huh?
I said they would give you a round. It would be talking round response.
Like, no, we'll leave you another card.
Oh,
Just
I
wait
thought
for
you'd
your
be so
Jesus card. Huh?
thrilled to hear this, that now Jehovah Witnesses are going to stop carrying magazines and stuff around, and they're just going to carry little cards around, little Jesus cards around too. So,
Ruh-roh. Man, poor
who has a
babies.
little a barcode on there so you can like take a picture of the barcode. It'll take you somewhere on the internet to read about
Oh, yeah.
Jesus. You see,
Yeah, you just bloop, bloop.
there you go. You're with
Oh,
Jesus.
man, I feel bad for those that just are they're just trying their little hearts out, and they have no idea.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so sad, but it's a learning process, and everybody's gotta learn on their own, unfortunately. If we could just do things for other people and it work and them not get all weird or go the opposite direction, right? The state of Idaho propped up MG, cleaned her up. Make sure you do a nice video. Make it a good one. That bothered me, right? That was, let me just, for anybody who does not know what the hell I'm talking about. Hold on. I'm gonna go grab it
Yeah,
because
show them.
yeah, it was something that just reading some of the old, okay. Reading some of the older, filings or whatever. Okay, hold on.
I'm gonna back out and give you more room.
Oh, okay. I gotta get back over there. How come I can never find it? There it is. Okay. All right. We're gonna watch this. It's just a little minute short. Please identify all parties of the prosecution / police present for this interview. Also provide any and all records, reports, notes, communications involving Ms. Gibb, Mr. Wood, investigators, detectives, etc. regarding this interview and or any other interview, communications, texts, emails, involving Ms. Gibb. Furthermore, Ms. Gibb states that Mr. Wood recommended she put, quote, out a video, unquote, and that it was a, quote, good video. Please identify and produce this video and the communications, dates, times, locations, persons present, and or privy to the communications regarding this quote unquote video. That kind of struck my ass last night. I was like, wait, this kind of sounds pretty sketch. Okay, also please provide any and all records, reports, notes, communications, etc. involving Ms. Gibb, Mr. Wood, investigators, detectives, etc. regarding this interview and or any other interview, communications, emails, etc. involving Ms. Gibbs. This part right here is just furthermore, Ms. Gibbs states that Mr. Wood recommended she put out a video, that's in quotes, that it was a quote good video. Please identify and produce this video and the communications, dates, times, locations of persons, So I guess that's Nate Eaton's interview with her. Perhaps it just rubs me wrong. Yeah. Okay, let me turn that off. I did it twice is what I did. I'm just like, okay, make sure I got that right, right? And so I don't know. It just that part struck me. It was some Mark Means filing. So I mean, he could have very well intentionally made it sound like that, you know? Or other. I just don't see why. I'm just gonna leave that right there. Because I mean, it's in the filing. I read it twice. It was the Mark Means filing, and anyways, it's just like possible. and also, there's like possible evidence within these filings. And I mean, I find it interesting. A lot of things I did not adhere to. I didn't know any better. I still don't really know any better. I'm not a legal professional. Been here doing it with you guys, layman's, we just learn together. We talk about it together. And it's as we talk about it, these things pop up and you're just like, oh yeah, I never looked at it that way. I never looked at it this way, the way you say, or me, whomever. Yeah, she has struck me wrong in the beginning too, and ever since, right? Just think she struck those kids. Oh God. They had to have just all the weird people, just the weirdness, especially of Melanie Gibb, who apparently, I mean, if you go to Keto and Crime, she read Melanie Gibb's books, so you don't have to, which was published, in 2019, or might have been the early 2020, January 2020, maybe, I don't know, where Chad wrote the foreword in her book, which was, again, if you call that a book, it's just like, what? I've got coloring books bigger than that. Hey, Carolyn, how are you? But yeah, it just doesn't make sense. But oh yeah, and then that reminds me of like the Sherry Dowdle phone call that I was just like, oh, to me it was like a practice run. Just, somebody she doesn't know, she's gonna reach out to her and then just kind of practice her little blah blah. Because if you think about it, David and Melanie, oh, mm. All right. Speaking of juju, bad juju. Oh man, that's. Mm. What did it say? Did it say an email? Was it from Sherry? Or, you said from Melanie. What was it? um, hmm. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that, Joe. I'm glad to hear that. My experience with them was beyond awful. And of course, I did not get an apology. And you won't. You will not get an apology from them. It was painful, but I found my peace from them all. Good. That's good. I really do think that there's this like the people like Melanie Gibb, like, and I don't know about Rod Meldrum. I don't know, but I sense a lot of narcissism. That's just me. That's just my expertise right there. Of just weird and opposite of what I would think. But you have people like Melanie Gibb, David Warwick, Rod Meldrum, Jackie Clement, even Audrey. Audrey, I think she really is a good actress. I really do. I feel bad for her if that is the truth, but I really don't trust any of these people. And that's not lost on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, yeah, I don't feel bad for it because don't hang around them people, don't continue to hang around these people. Don't be like, she treats me so bad. And then, like Jim Archibald said, so you went to 5 different states with her or 4 different states. It doesn't add up. I'm sorry, that dog just doesn't hunt. But I'm not I'm not the judge or jury or whatever. Hey Laura, how are you, girl? I was late today, so got late hair and late face. It's good to see you though. Appreciate you. Man, I've been thinking about you every time I run across something in Utah. Like with the satanic ritual. I don't even know what to call it because I can't cram all that stuff in my head and keep it there because I can't remember all those things. But something about the law being changed around, I don't know. You can tell me because it's just nuts. And then I'm like, why do I concentrate over there in Utah? I live over here in Louisiana. Why don't I concentrate here? It's where I can make a difference, right? But I don't know. I don't know why. But that just seems to be the source. The source. You know, the source. You know what I mean. Source. Hey, Leanne. Not much is going to make sense because the complete truth has been hidden. Fact. Oh, that's the statement of the day. You just pulled an Adam. An Adam Steed, y'all. KJ, did you see Adam Steed after, like on the courthouse steps? That's what I was planning on doing back whenever, when I was all pissed off about not being able to do a victim's impact statement. I was like, I'll be outside. Catch me outside. I'll tell you what you need to hear, but just wasn't the time. But I'm on top of it this time. Hopefully Arizona will allow that. Hopefully Chad, I don't know. I just feel like it won't, but I'm gonna try. Judge Boyce, I don't know if the same stipulations are gonna be what happens in Chad's trial. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, I've been looking through some of the old filings and stuff because you do catch a lot of the things that you forgot about, that, there's just so much going back and forth between the attorneys and the court. And then, like, again, it's charged with emotion and everything, especially at that time. 'Cause, I mean, at the beginning of this, I was just like, what? I don't understand. And I still don't really understand, but I understand a little more if I just stop, take my time, and just really absorb what I'm reading and process it. But there's a lot of things in this, like Regan Price. She's an alleged witness to the alleged shooting or the gunshot, the day of the raccoon. The day of the raccoon. The day that Chad Daybell was like, hey, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to shoot me a coon and I'm going to bury that nuisance. A coon is a nuisance, first off. And I've been hunting. I used to go hunting a lot. I enjoy it. I like going scouting more. Just going and just seeing where everything's tracking, and I like being outside and I miss it. But one thing you don't do is shoot things just to shoot them. Okay? You don't just go shooting. That's psychopath. Okay? That's just like, you don't, and you don't bury a nuisance. You don't go kill coyotes or whatever, raccoons. You don't kill possums. You don't do all that and then bury them. You do not. You definitely don't bury them twice. I mean, what's his excuse for JJ? Tylee. I mean, what if Tylee represents, if the raccoon represents Tylee, okay, then what in the hell is his excuse for this whole other kid? Okay, doesn't make sense. So yeah, hunter's code. Like, you just don't. I mean, I remember there were like 3 raccoons where I went hunting one time, and I just I was dating a guy at the time, and we talked about what you do with things like that. You don't just shoot things just to shoot them. And you definitely don't bury them. You definitely don't go and waste your time burying something that's a nuisance, like possums, raccoons, coyotes, things that tear up your property and things like that. And so I really do think that the raccoon is symbolic. This is what I think. Again, what is Chad's whole MO? Dark. It's light or dark, right? It's righteous or it's unrighteous. It's a wheat or it's a tare. And we know where the victims fell in that ranking system, right? So I do believe that the raccoon is indicative of dark. It's a coon. It's a racial slur. You can even go that way. I see Chad being a Aryan. I just really do. I do. Uh, he don't know diversity. No. Thank you, Denise or Deneen. These words are not smart. Read Revelation 17, verse 22. You do not add or take anything from the Bible, or you will experience damnation. I know. I get it. We get it. But it's like saying, hey, or if you have kids, I mean, I always did opposite of what my mom said. I'm just like, oh, you don't want me to do that? All right. Be right back. Or she wants me to, she told me this just last year. She was like, oh, I figured it out finally. I'm like, I'm 40. I was 44. I was like, about damn time. Just do opposite or say opposite. But perhaps Rombo said, oh, sorry, Carla. Perhaps a raccoon is a useless eater, and he saw Tylee as a useless eater. That insulted him, right? She didn't like me. Mm. Mm. Man, that was really good the other day, KJ, too. Just the way you pulled it out. Just some days it just goes like that, and it just, I forget what Jason said. And I was like, oh, I need to mention that, but I forgot. What was it? It was to do with Tammy and Samantha. Oh, so it was, and I mean, I'm just, it's not really going to make sense because it's his point, but you'll make sense of it, KJ, I think. But he was like, well, how can Emma say that her mom was in bad health if she's there going to, dance classes and stuff with her mom? And I'm like, I know. I don't know. I don't know how. It's got to be some mental gymnastics on these kids, right? Goodness. It's mental gymnastics, just embracing it. I can't imagine the mental gymnastics trying to justify it. Can you imagine? Also, to give Tammy an excuse to cover his butt in case she recognizes that some ground had been moved on their property. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Just like, I mean, because she would go feed the ducks and, yeah. I just feel bad. I feel bad for their last days, their last moments. It just, I can't imagine the betrayal. I can't imagine the betrayal that they must have felt if they were aware. Hopefully they weren't, but I mean, we're not dealing with the most nice people. They're not really nice. They think that they're doing them a favor. They think that what they're doing is in righteousness, just like David Hamble in there, the righteous seed. Mm. It's interesting though, but I don't like the stuff that I research, but it's horrible. I'm like, how can I, just my family's case alone is just like, bull, but it's like, I was able to kind of, I don't know. I'm just curious and I don't know, I'm drawn to it too. And I'm just like, why? There's something here. It's too weird when I'm focusing over there on Idaho and everything that was going on, the core, just everything that was going on. And then you learn how how the kids were unearthed from Chad Daybell's property, which is in Louisiana, it's 9/10 of the law. Possession. Straight up. There you go. Here's you some possession, Chad. I'm just saying. Oh, goodness. Anyways, so, I'm focusing on Idaho, way over here in Louisiana, and I'm just processing everything. And at the same time, I shift over to Utah news, and there's this whole Tim Ballard OUR, and I was like, that is connected. that I don't know how, but that is that I don't know where they intersect, but they will. And I mean, Tom Harrison is that link right now. So, there's Chad and Julie that were learning to portal, whatever that means, from Tom Harrison, allegedly. They were meeting with him, allegedly, to learn how to portal. And then you got texts between Chad and Lori about building a portal in her closet. You got Melanie Gibb talking about it, and she's like, I don't know, it's not a physical thing, or whatever. Hey, Patsy, I was just thinking about you last night. It's good to see you. Oh, it's my ex-mother-in-law. She's the first person and that's what it was. I was watching a damn prison show. That's what it was. That's why I thought of you. And I was like, oh yeah. Mr. Carl used to be like, you were always watching the prison shows on Lifetime, the women prison shows. I hope you're doing good. Oh yeah, Denny, it is. It will be. It will be, which is going to be different. I mean, I think it's going to be the same kind of view as, how whenever they, Lori sentencing, kind of just the camera pointing in that direction. It doesn't zoom in or anything, but not that I am aware of. I don't think they'll zoom in and stuff. It's just going to be a court camera. I'll go look at that. Let me store your comment so I can find it in a little while. Okay. I've never Tyler Helser. That name sounds familiar, but I'll look it up for sure. Yeah, I mean it's connected to Mike Aquino. I think his name is Mike Aquino. Tim Ballard, Mike Aquino. The church, what, the Process Church or the Church of the I don't really know how it goes. And then it connects to Scientology, but then it connects to what's her name? Dana with Rotting Jewels thinks she's this is what kind of caught me with her was she's kind of focusing in on the David Levitt, Nicholas, he's got so many damn names. Nick Oliverden, also aka Arthur Knight, the guy that would, anyways, Scotland, and he had to get extradited, and he just got extradited allegedly somewhere by David Levitt. So it's really confusing because I'm like, wait, you're doing that allegedly, and then you're looking for that guy over there doing that. Then you move over there to Scotland and you buy a freaking castle, a whole castle. And then now David Levitt and Shalom Levitt, she's a teacher at the Assailan Institute in BYU. And she's a counselor, one of these marriage sex counselors. You just cannot get, you just cannot have this many people doing some weird sketch stuff in this one little view. You can't. That I'm telling you, if I were to take 10 of you guys, we wouldn't have really much in common as far as our work. We wouldn't have 18 different nonprofit organizations, humanitarian focused. No. Possible CIA connections. No. I'm sorry. That's just not normal. It's not normal. Yes, there will be, Nina. Yep. Sure thing. Process Church of the Final Judgment. Thank you, Suze. Yeah, Process Church of the Final. And I'm very new in this, so it's a lot to put into my head. But that's Tim Ballard, and I don't know where it ties. I'm gonna ask Dana. If she'll. I'm just like, she's really good at. She can just spit these things out, and she's like, and so and da 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 da, and she connects everything, and she's right there working in this area, this Process Church of the Final Judgment. What's that other doctor's name? See, Dr. Lily, something about dolphins. See what I'm saying? I'm like, do. Well, she's just like articulate and easy to follow. I don't quite understand everything, because she's just kind of networking and kind of connecting these things. to Sharon Tate. I mean, just it's mind blowing, you know. But and you kind of see who orbits where. Tony Robbins. I mean, Tony Robbins, which is one of Tim Ballard's friends, has his own private island over here. I don't think so. I don't. No, it's not too much weird in one area. There's too much concentration of weird. Oh, Sue Ellen Connect Dallas. Oh, and anyway, so Dana had mentioned something about Contra, and I don't even know anything about it. Contra, Iran Contra or something. I don't know. It's too many things. Oh, right. It's something. Yes, the Mormons. You know, it's weird. Oh, I need to do that again. You know, I know I got off track. I did. I just feel like sometimes people just don't want to do it, but I do. I do. I like doing it. It refreshes. God dang, the sun's bright. It does refresh my memory too. It's like the week before school and you start getting in the routine, right? So we just got to get in that mindset. I'm with you. What's today? Tuesday. Oh, no, we have Wednesday. Wait, today's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. We have Chad. And then if if y'all want to, oh yeah, Tony Robbins too. um, if y'all want to, we can schedule for Thursday evening and we'll just not do long. We won't do long. And just go over some pre-trial. Chad Daybell. I actually need to pick up where I left off, and that was Melanie Gibb. Yay, winner, winner, right? lucky us. But if y'all want to, if you're in, I'll schedule it. What the hell? I don't know why my lips do this. But anyways, yeah, Tony Robbins too. It's crazy. What is it? I don't know what this word is. I keep seeing it though. Yeah. Yeah. And he I don't know. It's just so flighty in my head, you know? One minute I'll have it or I'll see it and I'm like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, what? On to the next things. Yes, and most of them are nocturnal for the most part, but I've seen them during the day. So, I mean, I've even gone and researched this, you know, just because I think that's going to be I can just see Pryor yammering on about it, right? Maybe hopefully he'll surprise us. I doubt it. We're gonna have to get like a fund going where we can like buy some BC powders because we're gonna need them. And we gotta get our damn it dolls, right? We gotta get our damn it dolls. Yes, I think so too. I think so too. But I watched this one channel about him. She did really good. She's from the UK. I don't remember her channel name though. When they're like their names or whatever, I don't really. I'm trying to remember, but she does like a two-part deep dive on Tony Robbins, and you're like, oh yeah, you can definitely. It's just all these odd characters. You know, you have Russell Ballard, he was the acting president of the Quorum of the 12 church hierarchy. Oh, okay, let me stay on track. Remind me, Nephi Anderson, okay? Nephi Anderson. Okay. So you have this higher up dude he's not the only one. And Russell Ballard looked at Gordon Bowen, who I mean, I hate to say it because it's so egregious, but according to the Hamlin daughters, in their victim statements, I have to say allegedly because this part has not been proven in a court of law because it never can make it to a court of law. First off, okay, it started in in the Satanic Panic era. It shouldn't even be called that. That's the bad thing. That's the bad thing. And I'm telling you, their tactics work. But so that does not make us crazy. It makes them crazy, and they push this crap because it works for them. It has. It's been very successful, if you ask me. And it's just gaslight 101, straight up. It's just like, "Oh, no, that's not what you're experiencing," as you're experiencing it, and they're pushing it, right? But, okay, so there was a where was I going with that? Okay, so, yeah, Gordon Bowen, who in the victim statements is alleged to have had a man hanging from his ceiling who was skinned, and one of the alleged victims said that it looked like it was professional skinning of a human, okay, a whole human hanging. And then he brought them in there, and there were torture devices, and there were skins from dead people skins, and then he made them wear them, allegedly. Either way, no. Just it's sketchy enough to me. Lynn Packer reported on Gordon Bowen. Uh, just the whole there's this one satanic ritual abuse, and it's purple, and it's got Gordon Bowen on it, Tim Ballard, and M. Russell Ballard in the middle of it. He's the common denominator. He did not implicate, nor did the evidence that Lynn Packer drew out. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'll get to go to Ashland college tomorrow, right? Oh God. Okay, 2 to 3. All right, can do that. um, but anyways, I forget because I just got knocked off. Let's see. Oh, just the whole Jesus movie thing where the church allegedly gave Gordon Bowen up to the tune of $20 million, and this movie has never made it. Allegedly the quorum of the 12, which are the top 12 dudes of the Mormon Church. I'm not gonna say all of them, but at least 3 or 4 went to go watch this movie. Can you imagine? You ever heard of snuff film? I've never looked it up, but I already know what it is, and I don't want to. I can't imagine. That's the vibe I get. I don't. I hope I'm wrong. But this movie that he was allegedly paid for, Gordon Bowen, never amounted to anything. Where is it? That's a lot of money. Anybody who's an active member or who was, that's your tithing dollars. Ah, it's betraying. I don't know how y'all do it. It pisses me off, and I mean, I've not donated any money or tithed any money. Yes, it was. I think so too. I'm like, wow. And it's just, how they say that the occult and all these things are in plain sight, and they are. They are in plain sight. It's crazy, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And we're all brainwashed to it. We're all indoctrinated to one point or another. Um, and it's just, "Oh, okay." You start learning about these things, and you're just like, "Oh, yeah. Well, hashtag me too." Right? Yeah, it is. And that part of I was reading some of the documents from the FOIA docs last night, and the portion that I landed upon, was about 10 or 20 pages, and it was about Tylee. Her friend had talked to the Chandler Police Department and said that Tylee loved her Uncle Alex. She loved staying with him. And I'm just like, "Oh my God." Mhm. Like right there in the mouth of evil. Straight up. Poor babies. What's the connection between raccoon and begging? I don't know about begging. Begging. Oh, I see what you're saying. They come out during oh yeah, we used to go to McDonald's in a town called Sulphur. Sulphur, you know, that's got to be a good breathing air quality, right? Town. Anyways, but the McDonald's over there in the town over, and anyways, the raccoons just like there's like a little school of them, and they or whatever they're called, and they come out and you give them fries. Yeah, they're a little more tame, but I mean, you got to think we're we're like building into their environment, and so they have nowhere else to go. I think it's sad. Oh, I'm gonna have to go watch it. It does make it a bigger betrayal. Carla me crusher toujours. Am I cussing if I say all that? Hmm. I don't know. I don't know what the connection is between that and begging. I don't even. That tortures me. Just and so I can't even imagine what it did to Tylee, and I can't imagine what it did to none of them. JJ, Tammy, Charles. I mean, I picture it. You know, I picture it with my Uncle Charles for some reason, and like the image or the impression I get is my uncle. Like I feel like I'm in his eyes, and I'm just seeing out of his eyes, and he's looking up, and he's looking at Lori, and he's just like, you know, like it's just like a betrayal, and he's fading out. You know, it just fades out. I don't know. It's very disgusting. Mhm. Oh. Hmm. Interesting. 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 Wow. Hmm. Thank you for that. I think. Thank you for that, I think. Right? It's like we don't wanna be right about these connections, right? We don't. None of us wanna be right. None. But here we are because we're having to figure it out. Um, hold on just a sec. We're not gonna be here much longer. Mm, so let's see, back to home. Uh, projects. Going to the projects. Let's see. Where? Folders, designs. Let's go to the designs. Let's see. But I do have some interesting papers and studies and stuff like that on the whole satanic ritual abuse. I do believe that this is just me. I do believe that Tylee and JJ are kind of under that umbrella. I don't really know to what extent, but the ritual aspect is there. The religious crap is, I mean, can you imagine? I try, but it's so I mean, it takes a toll just trying to think about it, about what they went through, um, what it was like to have, like or to be in, you know, a whole new town, whole new state, whole new hemisphere, you know, you're, like, up in the northern part of the United States now, like a fish out of water, not around your friends, not around anybody of that's comfortable or anything like that. Just totally taken out of your element, and I think that's part of it. I do. I think this and if you think about it, like with Tammy, how they shot at her, she was shot at, 10 days before she was murdered. I don't know if that was to instill the fear and to get her to split her personality. That seems to be that is a running theme in all these cases, is causing a person to dissociate causing trauma, causing chaos, anxiety, angst, and you just they catch you off guard because they're chaos. They're total freaking chaos, and that's where they live. All these assholes. I said it. And so it causes a person to compartmentalize. It causes them to split in their minds. And so you create all these compartments, okay? And then that's whenever they're able to create these altars. Okay? That's David Hamblin. 101 straight up. I mean, think about it. And so remember how Chad was saying it's not that easy to get somebody out of their body. That's what I think of. And I think about I don't know if they even meant to kill Tammy on October 9th. I don't know if it was to quote unquote get her out of her body. It's like they wear them down or something. And it is. It's like this energy healing, but not in a bad way. I mean, not in a good not you know what you're doing. You know your intentions. That's what it really boils down to, in my opinion. You know, when you're trying to hover and use all these spiritual weapons and rip, tear, burn people's what is it, auras or their veils, whatever the hell, their spirits. You're not. It's your intention. It's what you're. You know, if I sit here and I pray for good things to come to you, if I have just these positive thoughts, positive well wishes, you know, for you and yours, then that my intentions are, you know, good. They're trying to be helpful. But if you have these people who are trying to hover over a vehicle of whatever the hell, it's so out there, and cause someone to wreck, uh, that's intent. And to me, bye bye. You know, you need to be on trial. You need to be on trial. You need to be arrested. And that's how I feel about that. Okay. All right. Hold on. I'm looking, obviously. The hell? Am I on projects? Templates? Where are all my things? Let me go back to my home. Okay. But I mean, I think it's important. Just hang tight. Hang tight and I'm going to be quiet. Where is it at? Let me just start pushing some stuff. No, that's not it. All right. I know what I'm going to do. Oh, please. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I watched the Jared Bridegan thing too, and there are two more suspects or something. I'm like, what? Y'all think it's the parents? I don't know. I didn't watch it all, so I could just be talking out of my hind end. Okay. Okay. This one. Okay, let me get to the transcript since I obviously can't find it in my Canva app. I put pressure on myself. It's so dumb. Oh. All right. Yeah. Let's see. I know what to do. Control G and do portal. Let's go to portal. Oh. No. Okay, hold on. Just hang tight. I sound like, you know how they do with them podcasts and stuff. And they're like, never mind. I'm probably not making any sense. Okay. What the hell? Okay. So what I'm basically I'm just kind of looking at the transcript from Chasing a Murderer. She's been doing really, really, really deep research, just giving it the time that it deserves. And I so appreciate Chasing a Murderer for that. And there was something that just stood out to me yesterday. I was like, oh my God. But there's no sources, but she says them in here. But it was a script, and it was it. It's like that's this belief, and it gave the scriptures and everything. But I just have to kind of look at it to find it, or I can share it tomorrow. But we made it this far, so let me just finish looking. So, I mean, okay, I'm just going to read her script. So I'm reading the words that she is saying. So it's not going to really sound, it's going to be a little difficult. Okay. It says, and she's talking about Chad Daybell, Julie Road, just kind of this whole backstory, right? And she says, I don't give you periods and end of sentences or punctuation. So it's very weird to just jump in. Have come from other people who belong to the LDS. So she is very confused by people and their accusations, and she claims she's not raking in tons of money. She must be talking about Julie Rowe. At Firesides off her book, she claims that she is here to testify of the Savior. Why is that bad? She also claims, and at this time, the church hadn't asked her to stop teaching and preaching. By September 7th of 2015, Chad enters his 13th blog post. And here he's talking about his experiences as a sexton. So this is very, very important. We've gone over this some, but not quite in this way, I guess. He says that he actually worked at Springfield City Cemetery from 1995 through 2000 at the Spanish Horse, or wait, see, it doesn't give you the right words too. Sometimes Spanish, whatever. Cemetery, 2009 to 2013. And then he went back for 1 year to the Springville Cemetery. He writes that he really doesn't want to return to his job as a sexton. And the reason for that is it's a very challenging profession, both mentally and physically. She says, so there you go, guys, a little bit of a clue, some of Chad's struggles. This gives us a clue on his mindset working around death and family mourners, people who are mourning. For years, he has also had complaints on how he didn't get much free time and says that his life was in the hands of local mortuaries. That's scary. So funerals happen, they just happen anytime. And I guess it creeped up on his free time. Poor Tammy. Okay, so rhyme or reason. And they have no schedule. So he couldn't plan for a Saturday off most times. If he had that, someone would pass away and his plans for a special event would be ruined. It wasn't guaranteed that if he planned something, someone was going to pass away. He claims that he felt like the Grim Reaper was actually checking his schedule, meaning that he had to probably had extreme fear of his days off being ruined by death. In this blog, he seems to enjoy that job, but also claims that he enjoyed helping the families locate their loved ones who have, well, he likes to do that, don't he? Or identify. claiming that he enjoyed helping the families locate their loved ones who have been laid to rest out there. I don't know, during his time as a sexton, that he admits that he believed in ghosts or spirits, and he especially believed that a few stayed back after their death to walk this earth. He talks about the incredible sorrow that he felt from one mother who lost her son. According to Chad, he said that he witnessed this woman, especially for hours into the late evenings, just bawl over his headstone, and that the next morning when he returned to work, that the woman's sorrow and energy was so strong it remained there. Chad wrote in his September blog that he had spirits oftentimes follow him around for days, and even a few stick around for years. It reminds me of Heather Daybell, her interview. Okay, then he compares himself to a woman with a gift to speak to ghosts, called The Ghost Whisperer, which is a TV series. So he seemed to be able to see himself as being someone that carries a special gift that can talk to ghosts. And he actually compared himself to Jennifer Love Hewitt's character as the chunkier version of Jennifer's character. A little further down the blog, he shares what he says as his most tangible ghost experience, and it came after they buried a man named Eddie. Y'all heard about Eddie the ghost, right? Who was known as the town's petty theft, and that he was present at Eddie's funeral, where he claimed to witness weird things happen, and that that was my roof, the wind, it's metal. Where he claimed to witness weird things happen, and that the day after he came to work, he noticed the women's restroom window, which is odd. All things would be cracked open about 2 inches each morning. Okay, that is weird. She says, why is this weird? Well, considering the fact that he claimed that he was responsible for locking it, along with all the other doors or gates and windows, that he would do this routinely every day before leaving work. And the women's restroom wasn't the only thing opened or cracked. The main gate to the cemetery was opened on its own. And Chad believed that it was Eddie, the ghost, right? The lock-picking ghost. Eddie, the lock-picking ghost, playing around. And he so much believed this that that there's a possibility maybe he isn't real. Maybe, hold on. Eddie, the lock-picking ghost, was playing around. And he so much believed this, and he believed that there's a possibility, maybe, this isn't real, that he attempts to set up like a booby trap on a lock, so that when the next morning came, he could tell if someone had touched the lock, or if it was something more. He does this, and he says he comes back to work the next day, and that little plastic booby trap that he put on the lock was still there, yet the gate was unlocked. Chad said this was concerning to him because he was worried about the equipment being stolen at the cemetery and him losing his job. At that point, Chad knows that he has to do something about it, and so he calls out this ghost he calls Eddie, and he tells him that you don't belong here. Look around, go towards the light. Okay, there's a dead ringer. He tells that I told JJ to follow Amy into the light, right? God. And he tells them, you don't belong here, and go towards the light. Don't come back. And again, it just seems that he's mimicking the ghost whisperer, and that he felt special enough to help this ghost get to the light where he belongs. So we learn a little bit more about Chad Daybell's mindset. He believes that he is a ghost whisperer. He believes that ghosts walk in our human realm. He can see the future. He believes that his children play a large role in the second coming of Jesus. He is interested in Julie Rose energy healing. He enjoys feeling special. And most importantly, what we notice is he is spending a lot of his time imagining being in this fantasy world of his mind. Okay, he believes that he has become almighty. uh, almost almighty. So he doesn't speak about his wife very often, not in a loving manner. She just seems like a hubba machine. I don't know what that means. An object, and he's actually gaining the confidence to start sharing his visions a little bit more openly. He has learned to be quiet around certain people. He has discovered a place that his ideals will be accepted and admired. Avow. He is a fan of sci-fi shows like Ghost Whisperer. He seems to have some trauma and some develop some interest from his workplace in the cemetery, and that he often sees ghosts at the cemetery. We have learned that Eddie seemed to have impacted his life somehow, but there was another ghost, an 8-year-old ghost, who dressed in the 1930s attire. Now he wasn't alone. There were 2 other people that worked in the cemetery that actually witnessed the ghost as well. So he said, Sam and Darren. Chad said that he was quite interested in learning who this ghost was and trying to look through the cemetery records of that time in the 1930s, and had found several boys, young boys, who had died. So this is very important. So Chad admits that many of his visions come to him while he's at work, especially at the cemetery, and he's walking through these tombstones, weed eating around the headstones. And he said that he would notice that suddenly he would find himself so submerged in these visions. So I guess he was just kind of like, you just kind of zone out when you're doing something monotonous and yeah. Around the headstones. And he said that he would notice that suddenly he would find himself so submerged, in these, that he loses himself, and that when he snaps back to reality, he realizes that he had walked several feet from the last spot he remembered standing. So very, very important information here that helps you understand who Chad is. He's just really lost in the fantasy world. And here he is basing some of his biggest moves, him and his family's moves, including his move to Rexburg, off of his visions. And then also other people's visions. Meanwhile, Lori Vallow started to become quiet. It's almost to the bottom. This isn't the one I wanted to read y'all, but anyways. Okay. Actually, we'll just leave that right there. Right. That way I don't even get into that. But I'll find that and I'll have it for y'all tomorrow. Because, I think it's interesting. It just, I don't know. It was about portals and all kinds of stuff. I was like, yeah, I need that. But I really appreciate her given it the time that it deserves and everything. I think that they deserve that. I think it deserves that. In this case, just moves right along, and then it'll stall for a little while, and then it'll just, it's like when it rains, it pours, right? And anyways, so I appreciate you guys being here. I'm sorry I was late. Thank you, Donna, and thank you, Subs. And my hair is so bad looking. I need to go finish flat ironing it. Hey, Rhonda. My thinking has always been if he knew about discernment, which one learns from the Bible, church, then he would have known how to deal with these ghosts, given any of those claims are true. And so I wonder if he's like Lori in this manner. He already thinks he's got one foot on the other side of the veil there. And yeah, Angela. Oh, thanks for becoming a member too. Much appreciated. But so I wonder if he's going to have some elaborate stories about, is he going to share it in his allocution, just like his other wife did at hers, about no one was murdered here. Girl, we need to send her, let's send her the FOIA docs. Right? Maybe she needs to take a look. I don't know what it is. It seems to be that way with Ruby. Well, more Jody than Ruby. I don't know. I don't want to. They just, like David Hamblin, they just seem to be like, they think they're doing right. And so that's what I'm saying. Like this whole opposite way of thinking is really scary. It is because, and I think that they do think that they are being righteous. Like, it's got to be a generational thing. It has to, because I mean, the only way that I can even wrap my head around this concept is that if I was born and raised this way with abuse, with the just, you know what I mean? I don't want to go into all of it. By your parents, your grandparents, this network of people around you, and then that's all you know. And so, and if you're told that you have righteousness within you, you're the priest, you have that priesthood power, you have the righteous seed, you have that discernment, they're told this, so they believe it. But then I've heard so many Mormons, ex-Mormons say or share that they kind of force themselves to, I mean, because they were trying so hard to receive the Spirit, right? Because you go up and the what, fast and testimony, go up to the pulpit and you share, and you feel, I guess I would say, pressured, if I'm reading the room right, pressured, and because everybody else around you is like, I know the church is true, and I know, all these things, and it's like you're forced to have this experience, and so I guess you could just, if you've never experienced it, then you don't really know what it is, and so you might just be assigning a feeling or something to what you imagine it to be, or I don't know. That's my guess. Hey, Bewitched. Good to see you, girl. Yeah, it is healthy to laugh at the absurdity. I get comments on my laughter during all this. I'm just like, I ain't got no choice. It's nuts. Network, right? That's, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Satan taco, right? I straight up though, have you been seeing the research though about Antarctica? I'm like, what's really going on? What's really going on? Yeah. I'm just like, maybe that hooker did know something about, what is this knowledge of the second coming that Tom Harrison allegedly has, author of Visions of Glory. That's his visions. That's his glory. Okay. What does Tim Ballard? Tim Ballard told, Tim Ballard, Hugh Vale, and Tom Harrison. I've been married to you in a past life, girl. Don't you know? I'd be like, well, then why did we split up? There you go. Yeah. I would never look back. If anybody's in here and somebody ever tells you that they were married to you in a previous life, run away, run away. It don't have to be graceful. Just go, move it as far and fast as you can. Right. Hey, Sandra. Because that's freaky. I mean, if you're a lady, you just, there's those kind of come-ons, or whatever, when a guy comes on to you. That didn't sound good. Anyways, okay. And you're just like, but you're trying to be nice, but then there's some that really do just creep you out, and you're just like, oh God, I got to move. Both of you. That is a terrible pickup line. And it's been used, and Julie has used it. I mean, everybody has used it. Saturday's Warrior. Go watch it on Mormon News Roundup. I think I don't know if he does it on a separate channel, but he's re-uploading all his Mormon movies. It's very interesting. But anyways, so I don't know. We got our hands full though. I'll tell you that. But I mean, what is this second coming knowledge? What sets them apart? Did they set themselves apart? Or is somebody assigning these ideas onto them, or you know what I'm saying? Mike Bickle and Evangelical. Very freaky when they set you. Yeah. Oh, no kidding. I didn't even think about that. Like, yeah. Just follow your gut. They tell you to dismiss that gut feeling or feelings aren't evidence. I say it's a good balance. Trust in evidence, facts, but also trust your soul. Trust your gut. That's your God-given intuition. It's your own little system. And it can tell you when you're in fear, when there's something to fear, you're in danger. Um, you know what I mean? Just it's our internal system, and just check them with other things, and don't totally rely on it, but don't totally rely on any one thing. I say check all the systems, and then check everybody. You know how whenever you learn how to drive, it's really not so much your driving. It's everybody else. It's like the defensive driving, right? Defensive driving to me is like 95% of being a good driver. Watching everybody else because nobody's paying a damn attention. And so that's kind of like my advice. That's how I kind of see this is just, watch everybody else, see what they're doing and see if what they're saying is aligning with what they're doing and vice versa. Because if they don't match up, then just move around. You ain't got to stay there. Yes, and but I think that's what, it's just like, don't trust this, trust us, trust your fellow member, yes, trust the man because he's, the patriarch and he's got discernment because we told him he did. It's so, it's so deceitful. Uh, I mean, I've never been Mormon, but I watch all these stories. I mean, Jason is just like, oh yeah, we watch it. And we just get enmeshed, we cry, especially with, the latest one was that Jason cried. He cries like a baby sometimes. But, like, Nick, the one from the bishop who stepped down from he's in Mississippi, and his wife Amanda, I think. Um, but anyways, just their stories are so touching, and they tell them in order. I would love, love, love to have that ability. I used to have some kinda order. Right? Mhm. Oh, there you go. That's a good one, Carolyn. Yeah. Oh, I know she got Kim Kardashian. I think MG and DW got married thinking they would not have to testify because of the spousal law. Yeah. We learned from David that Melanie is down there living and working. That girl got her a job. You go, girl. You grow, girl. I think that's about 99% of the problem here is just get a job. We can find something to do. They get bored. I think there's too much time on their hands and too much pressure also. Let's just say that for the ladies. I mean, there's pressure all sides, I think, but the ladies, it's your job to see to it that your man is righteous enough and to get him into heaven, then you got to get there and then you got to wait on him to call your name. Oh, no. That is just know your worth. Just know that you is kind, you is smart, and you is important. And that you are needed and you are valuable. Yeah, you're needed here. Your voice is needed. And you matter. Just know that. Promise me that. But anyways, they could have with the spousal law. Who knows? But I mean, I know it doesn't work I don't know if it works, but does that okay, that's a good question. Does that apply to witnesses? We'll just quote unquote witnesses, not partakers. Melanie and David Warwick. Did they get married is there a spousal privilege? Or is that, I know it doesn't apply if you are married and there's children involved. If there's children involved, then that washes away. You absolve that. That does not apply. When children are involved, that goes away. But I was just wondering if it, would it work for people who are not on trial, so to speak, like David and Melanie, like Melanie Plowski, Zelena. I don't know if anybody knows. Oh no, it's a good little thing. That little girl's so sweet too. Yeah, then you gotta share 'em with 2 other wives. Oh my god. Whew. I'd be like, "Girl, I'm a hoot. I'm coming over there. Imma whip his hiney though, you know? Uh-uh." No, ma'am. Mike Stroud is crying? I doubt it. He's just still preaching the Book of Mormon there, bud. I remember whenever after all this stuff happened, I'm gonna end on this because I've been going long. Right? But I don't know. David kind of, I don't know. I don't trust him. But you know me, I have trust problems. I have trust issues with these people. Hashtag my trash gallery, all one word. Crazy. You're welcome here anytime. Oh, I got a name, Bo Peep. It's War and DICK. There you go. Anyways, that's between me and you. We need to get some ribbons out. Some twirlies. Oh my gosh, this reminds me of Spirit Fingers, right? Stupid. Mike Stroud. Mike Stroud. I had okay, so okay, found his podcast, and then all that stuff. And then he kind of ended up on this other website, which I have that written down as to who's like kind of supporting that. I can't remember it right now. But it was about translation. Anyways, this is like post everything pretty much. This is like way not too long ago. And it was about the translation process. And like on the thing that he wrote to his listeners, to his readers, was don't go telling everybody. That's what, here you are teaching people how to be translated beings, so to speak. And you're like, but keep your mouth shut, okay? Loud mouths, I'll have to find it and show it to y'all because I thought it was kind of funny. Yeah. Michelle McDermott too. Yeah, I'll have to show that little clip to y'all too of her just being like, yeah, that's just all the stuff came out and she was just like, yeah, that's when I don't know. They act persecuted. They act like they're the victim. And these children and Tammy and Charles and Joe are not victims. That like they don't even mention them. That's another thing. That's bullshit. Total bullshit. Thank you, Deneen. That's very sweet. I appreciate it. Oh, here, I haven't played it in a while. Let's see. I bullshit.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit?
He's so cute. Anyways, we'll leave on this one. This is Tim and the Shart. The short chart. Anyways, but I love you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I forget what time. I don't know because I don't memorize everything. But yeah, whatever the time is scheduled for tomorrow, we'll be here. But I appreciate you guys being here. Love always wins. Justice for Tylee, Charles, Tammy, JJ, and Joe. And here's a short chart, Tim Ballard style. So while I was scrolling down this ex-Mormon Reddit thread, I ran into this picture of Tim, and I was like, "What the hell is wrong with his face?" And he actually posted it. But this is what I found.
I shorted. I shorted.
Where'd you shart?
In my pants.
You sure? You know what a shart is? Tell me what a shart is.
You think it's a rooter tube, but it is a rooter tube, but the rooter tube goes out and it splats.
It just reminds me of his face. Anyways, it is splat. Love you guys.